New focus group out of folks in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania critically voted for Donald Trump and was one of the reasons that he won the election, a very, very important reason. And that was considered to be part of Hillary Clinton's blue wall. But as we saw in Game of Thrones, sometimes walls come crumbling down in unexpected ways, and Pennsylvania did. Now, Pittsburgh itself was far more in favor of Hillary Clinton. But what they did in this focus group was they found people from all stripes who voted for Hillary Clinton, Trump voters, and then independent party voters. Not, like the independent party voters and Hillary Clinton voters, interesting, God bless, that's for another day. But what I found interesting is the Trump voters. Because are they gonna hold strong? So far in focus group after focus group, even with his incredibly deteriorating numbers with the rest of the country, the focus groups of Trump voters have generally stood by him. Not in this case. So I don't know if it's because they're from a blue state or from Pittsburgh within Pennsylvania. Even though they voted for Trump, maybe they're more susceptible to actual news because they live in a real city where they have real facts as opposed to a bubble where alternative reality is set in. But either way, this is not good news for Donald Trump if he ever runs for re-election and hopes to keep Pennsylvania again. So first off, here's David Turner, one of the Trump voters, saying, I traditionally am in the give the guy a chance group. His learning curve has been a little disappointing, meaning he hasn't caught on like everyone has said here. If he did this, he'd be okay. So that's point one, which is they're beginning to realize what a knucklehead he is. So almost every part of this is stuff that I've been telling you for a long time, where they're like, well, it's weird, he doesn't seem capable of learning. What did I tell you? All right, now let's go to Brian Rush, another Trump voter. He says, in some aspects, Trump is almost turning into a politician in a different way, saying things that he thinks his base wants to hear. He's let me down. Exactly right, Brian. So another thing that we've been pounding away at the Young Turks, because it's true. He never wanted to drain the swamp. He wanted to rebuild the swamp. So he said, oh yeah, I'm gonna go after the globalists and the bankers and I'm gonna, all these guys took money from me and I'm gonna stop that. And no, he hasn't stopped it. He filled his cabinet full of Goldman Sachs guys, financial, industry representatives, his top economic advisors, the former head of Goldman Sachs, and on top of that, I told you, he's a standard politician. It's ironic because he ran against the elite and the establishment and those standard politicians, and people voted for him because, as Rand Paul once said, he has the veneer of truth telling without the truth. But he seems like he talks like a regular guy. He doesn't often talk from a prompter, he's not polished, he says foolish things, and you think, well, that's a regular dude, so he's not a real politician. No, but at the heart of it, he told you whatever you wanted to hear, even though it was an obvious lie. On the case of healthcare, he said, oh yeah, I'm gonna cover everybody in the country. And on top of that, it's gonna be lower price for you, and on top of that, you're gonna have more things covered in your healthcare. Well, that was a standard cheesy politician lie. And when he got in office, he's like, no, of course I'm not gonna cover everybody. I'm gonna cover 20 to 30 million people less than Obama did. Is your prices gonna be low? Well, if you're rich or you're young, yes. If you're healthy, maybe. If you're old, I'm going to 4x your prices. But you said you'd make prices lower for everybody. Come on, man, I'm a cheesy politician. You believe that crap? Of course I am not gonna do that. Idiot, I lied to you. And now people are turning around going, I think he might have lied to us. And he might be a cheesy politician and he's just doing things to get votes from his base. To which I say, of course! But me saying that is not as important as these guys who are actual Trump voters beginning to turn around. So why'd they vote for Trump in the first place? Here's another voter that perfectly explains it and exactly what we told you, not just after the election, but before the election. He said, it was more of an anti-Hillary vote and quote, I didn't want more of what we already had. Now, I re-emphasize that for you guys today, not just because it's an important phenomenon that the Trump voters are beginning to leave. We're seeing the beginning of that process, right? It's just the tip of the iceberg. But the other part of it is that the Democrats in Washington haven't learned any lessons. So you say, hey, you see what you did wrong? You were for the status quo, and Americans don't want the status quo. Look at what he says. I didn't want more of what we already had. But Democrats today are going, no, not Bernie Sanders. Not any progressives, not real change. Now, what we want is standard Democratic politicians who are gonna say, well, come on, the status quo is not that bad. No, not too much change. No, tiny. I'm against Trump, whatever that means. I'm for resisting. What are you for though? Resisting is pushing back on something. What do you want to go in the direction of? Oh, that's risky, I don't want to say. But I kind of like the things as they are. No, if you run another establishment candidate who is for no change at all, that is your only chance of losing to Donald Trump and the Republicans. Don't make that mistake, and they're in the middle of that mistake right now. You go turn on television, you barely find any Bernie Sanders supporters. They'll brag about one, maybe two in all of cable news. Then you'll have 20 Trump guys, and then you'll have 1 million establishment Democrats and Republicans. Television is not for change. It's owned by multi-billion-dollar corporations who don't want to rock the boat. So they won't let these guys on. Now, if the Democrats delude themselves into thinking that that's what the American people want to, they're gonna have another rude awakening. And that rude awakening is going to unfortunately crash on top of all of us. So we can't let them make that mistake again. justicedemocrats.com/win. Participate, get real Democrats that are uncorrupted by this corporate money and who don't want the status quo, they want real change. Watch the Young Turks commercial free, download it or stream it, watch it any way you like at tytnetwork.com/join.